Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I'm looking forward to today's episode. I'm going to be working on a reel that's a favorite of mine. This is a quantum bill dance, and well, I like the reel and I like bill dance. How's that? We're going to show you how to upgrade this. If you listen right now, the bearings are gone. You can hear the bearing noise in the back. That leads to sluggish turning on the spool. It's just not a very efficient reel, but it is a reel that I just like. I like the feel of the reel in my hand. I like fishing with it. I've had it quite some time. And well, we're going to show you how to upgrade that with ceramic hybrid bearings from Boca Bearing Company. I hope you stick around to enjoy this. We'll show you how the reel is made while we do this and how to swap this out and keep this reel running. So who was Bill Dance, right? A lot of times we get these questions come in. For example, you get Johnny Morris on Bass Pro, right? Who was Bill Dance, right? Bill Dance was, well, an interesting character, and I guess we can just say that. He's a character, right? We all know him, or many of us know him, for his Bill Dance Outdoors shows that premiered in 1968. He's a lifelong resident of Tennessee. I think he was born in 1940 or so, and started entering bass tournaments in the 1960s. In 1968, he had a television show, Bass Bill Dance Outdoors. And between the tournaments and his popularity as a TV host, he gained a lot of notoriety. He was a 3-time Bass Angler of the Year. He won 23 national bass titles. He's inducted into the National Freshwater Hall of Fame as well as the IGF Hall of Fame. And he had a sponsorship for quite some time with Quantum. And I got to get a little treasure. Jane at Jane's Reel Repair actually knows Bill, and I had him actually autograph a cap for me. And of course, it's the Tennessee cap, which he's so proud of. Just a nice remembrance all around. Well, we're going to start by showing you how to take this reel apart. We're going to show you how to upgrade these bearings. We'll show you how the reel is made and how to service that while we're at it. And if you like these kinds of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please use that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm posting my videos. And you can see if that's a video you would like to watch. I cover all kinds of fishing reels, everything from freshwater, saltwater, and trolling, deep sea fishing, you name it. If it's made, I generally try to service that, give those reels a second chance, and in many cases get them back out there on the water to the customers who send them in. Well, you saw I removed the cap. That's the retaining cap. Did that by removing the small screw. I took off the handle nut. Now we're going to remove the handle. And before I go any further, I'll give you a couple of things. One, I suggest that you take pictures along the way as you service your fishing reels. That way you'll know where the fishing reels are, where the pieces and parts come from. And, well, if you get stuck on the way back, you know how to find them, right? You just reference your pictures. There's a little switch underneath here. You pull that in, and I believe you pull this down. There you go. That'll just give you that little turn that enables you to walk off the mag stack, and that's one of the bearings we will be replacing. This is a 3-ball bearing reel. Even when you see reels that are saying they're 8-ball bearings, there's really 3 of them that are doing all the work. It's the 2 of them on the spool, and it's 1 of them up on the tip back here for the spool adjuster. That's all you really need to concern yourself with. Quantum used a little retainer clip type of a setup. Let's see if we can bring that in here to show you a little bit better. There's a little pentagon ring here. You can probably just about see that. And the way to replace those bearings after you've acquired them, and again, these have come from Boca Bearing Company. Boca Bearing is a reliable supplier, and these are ABEX 7s. So those are the highest rated for fishing reels. There are ABEX 9s out there. Typically they're used in military use and the like, but 7s are the highest, smoothest bearing you can get, and the ones recommended if you really want to step up the performance of your fishing reel. We've done several videos and on bearings, and I get the questions a lot, why upgrade? Well, there's a couple of things you want to do. One of them is this situation where I just have bearings that are old and need to be changed out. And well, if you get them when they're old and changed out, you might as well do the upgrade. Next one up is generally a question about performance. And when you work on your reels and you need extra performance for casting and the like, that's kind of the way to go. And if you're having trouble picking the bearing out, then I'm going to use a bearing extractor kit, also available from Boca. This is a two-step process. There's a sleeve that goes inside the bearing. Then there's this little expander. It's going to push out the wings on that sleeve. That's going to lock it in like that. And once you have that, you just pull and the bearing will come out. It's a wonderful tool to have if you need it, if you work on bearings a lot. As I said, most of the time I can get this out simply by picking it out. In this case, this one was a little stubborn, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you that. Okay, I'm going to unwind all of this. The replacement bearing is simple. You just take that replacement bearing, push it back into the case. Nice tight fitting case. And that's your hybrid ceramic. So as I mentioned, Boca is more than just a casual supplier of these things. They're not one of these internet companies that is just going to claim things and maybe you get them, maybe you don't. If you're in need of service and you're out of luck on the internet, Boca has a good service department and a great reputation. And the good thing about that is they're not just fishing reel bearings or whatever moves them. They cover all kinds of industrial bearings and the like. Okay, here's that Pentagon clip we were talking about. Let's see if we can fish this one out the way I've done the others. There you go. So most of the time they just come out like that. Make sure when you go to replace these bearings that they match up. If you're wondering about how to order these, a lot of these are available as kits, but go on the Boca Bearing site. If you don't have a way to measure these, they have a sheet of that you can print out. It'll give you one where you can align the inner diameter, the outer diameter, and the height, and that's what you need in order to order the bearings. Okay, here's the second one goes in. Just align it, press it down, and once it's in, grab that clip that you have. Start on the one corner. Pretty much have to do this from the top side. And I know it's going to be hard to see. You want to anchor one corner in there and just walk it around. Making sure that it seats into that ridge so that it's a retaining clip, it holds it in. We didn't do that on the back side, so let's make sure we do that too. So here's that clip again, maybe a little bit easier to see here. Again, you load it in one side, bring it around, and seat it. Now, a word of caution here as you're doing this, when you go to remove these are springs and they will shoot. So make a concerted effort on your part to control that as you're doing this. Alright, so that clip is in here as well. And that takes care of this side, so we can button this part up. Now, we can put a little bit of grease onto the two shafts. You do not oil ceramic bearings. Ceramic bearings run best dry, and if you're looking for maximum performance in a casting of a reel, do not oil. Now, there are times when you might want to oil. That's your option, but the ceramic bearings are intended to run dry. Okay, we reinstalled the spool, but in order to remove the side case here, there is a screw holding that in from the back side. It's over here. It's a long bar screw. So you need to make sure that you remove that in order to remove your case. All right, again, another opportunity for you to take a picture, remove your case, and you can see that I use the reel a lot, and this one is definitely up for a service, so we'll go do that in addition to the other pieces here. Okay, I'm going to just check, make sure that I have a clean side plate and a clean anti-reverse. I'm going to take my pieces and parts off. I put them into a parts tray for safekeeping. I always want to get right to these two yoke springs, because those yoke springs tend to take a walk on you when you're not paying attention. Now we can remove our main gear assembly. We can remove our click ratchet assembly. And we can remove the yoke, the pinion gear, and we can see the new gear through there. So those are the two important bearings that you want to replace for your spool performance. We'll just clean up our yoke. This is in very clean condition. Let's take a look underneath it. There should be a small bearing under here. It's not necessary to replace. But that one would be for your shaft. Take a picture here. It's always important to note how these little collars go on. They're not symmetrical, and many times they're kind of unusual in terms of how to go. And sometimes you can make the mistake of installing them incorrectly. This one's going to be pretty hard to make that mistake on, but it could be done. Yeah, we have a little bearing hiding in here, and as I mentioned, that's not integral to the casting performance. That does not need to be changed out. Does need to be cleaned. Actually, this is a bushing. That's not a bearing. Okay, well, that solves that one real quick, doesn't it? All right, so let's just throw some oil on that. Check to make sure you're clean all around. So it says 3 bearings, but there's only 2 of them in this case. Not quite sure where the other one is. Maybe in the handle. I don't know. All right, let's bring that back. Take those 2 screws that we removed, take them out of my parts tray. Let's put those back in. It's always good to work in sub-assemblies. Easy for me to say. Work in the sub-assemblies. Don't leave the parts laying around. Work on them, do what you need to do there, and then move on. Okay, that'll tighten that down. While I have this up and about, I'm going to move that over to the side so that we can service the pawl. And when we service this pawl, understand that we have plastic cap here. And that plastic cap is pretty fragile. So you want to make sure that you are kind of gentle with it, that you don't crack it by over tightening it. So where's Quantum these days? Well, Quantum kind of was purchased by Lew's, actually Rather Products, which owns Lew's. And they're going to be dedicated, they're going to consolidate the lines. Quantum was owned by Zebco, and Zebco and Quantum got acquired by Rather Products. The other pieces that were in the line, the Van Stalls, the Finors, and the like, they kind of got sold off to Pure Fishing, and Lew's decided that the brand that was going to be the one on the tournament and the one that gets all the advertising and publicity and blah 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 from the bass fishermen was going to be the Lew's brand. and that the Quantum brand would be dedicated to salt water. So if you're wondering why you don't find Quantum bait casters around anymore, that's the reason. Okay, we want to just make sure that we put this back on. And that we're running afterwards. Nice smooth operation. And a spot of oil onto that worm gear. I checked the worm gear, so it's clean. As I mentioned, this is a reel of mine, and one of the things I do when I come back from a fishing trip is I always hose that down with fresh water, or sometimes the easy thing for me to do is put it into a bucket. And in that bucket I have just fresh water and a pail. In this case, it could be just an oversized coffee can. You don't have to drag out a 5-gallon bucket or anything, but the oversized can will allow me to just soak it, and the soaking will get rid of all of the dirt and debris that was accumulated over the trip. Okay. Check the teeth on your gear. Check the ramps. Remember how this goes. And then make sure that you grease your pinion gear. And we can bring that back over and out. Just like that. And I prefer to put the pinion gear in before I put the main gear in. And I'd say it's been about a year since I serviced this. I try to service my reels on an annual basis, and you can see that it accumulates some dirt and debris over that time. I'd say this has probably been out on about 15 trips maybe, so it's time. These are hard washers. They do not need to be greased. Just make sure that they're free of debris. Same thing with your main gear. Clean that off. Check your teeth. They're all in good condition. So I run this on a 7-foot pole. I have 8-pound monofilament line that I use on it. And you'll notice that that spool that I have is empty because when I go to service my reels on, as I mentioned, about an annual basis, I make it a point to change out the line at that time. Okay, the hard washer goes back in after you've greased. Install the collar. Install our inner brace for our anti-reverse clutch. One final check before we lock this up. We're going to put a little bit of oil onto our free spool release. And we need to put those 2 yoke springs back on. They're kind of first off, easily forgotten, last on. Alright, we can take a moment now to put the side case on, line everything up, bring it in. Make sure that you hear a nice firm click and that you have nice tight seams all the way around the reel. Then we'll come back here on this side. And I like to tighten this one first because sometimes you can forget that this one was here. And you'll go about putting the rest of that case back on, and next thing you know, well, the front of your side plate is loose. Alright, we had the 3 screws that are all the same. I'm going to come all the way over to the other side here, put this one back on now. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, leave them in the comments section. I do try to answer them. Maybe you want more information about this reel or Quantum, or maybe you're working on a reel and you're stuck. Just leave those in the comments section. Maybe you want to know a way to get in touch with Boca Bearings. That's easy, bocabearings.com. And they were kind enough to give me a discount code, which you'll find in here. But there's a discount code available if you want to order from them. I believe the discount code is for 15%. And, well, It's all yours for watching and just mentioning that code when you order. All right, let's go put the rest of this on. We already kind of loaded up our spool and side case here. Guess we can pull that out. Bring that in. Again, we've got those two hybrid bearings there. This should make all the difference in the world. I can't wait to bring this back out on the water. Load up your piece, push in, turn up. You have to pull the switch back to put it back in place again. One of the little things I've noticed over the years. We have those two washers. They're bellied or concave convex, the tension washers for your adjuster. Speaking of that adjuster, there's one more washer. It's sitting inside the adjuster here. That's a flat washer. That goes next. We can put our star adjuster on. And we're getting close. So I've had this reel. I didn't buy it new, but I've had this reel for years now. I wish I could remember how I came about it, but I've tried to keep it in good condition because it keeps me fishing. I use this for some bass. I also use it on inshore waterways. We have a lot of brackish water here. You have the Hudson River and its estuaries, which is a mixture of salt and fresh water. It's where the harbor is. And that brings in all kinds of fish, including striped bass at certain times. And, well, you can land a striped bass on one of these. They're strong reels. And they're built to take some punishment, if you will. All right. Oftentimes I say this, people just kind of look at me, but these nuts, every now and then, they just kind of hard to get set. So work that on. You need to make sure they come on square. This one's not going on square. There we go. You'll feel it when it is. One of the tricks there is to put the nut on in reverse, back it off, and eventually it will seat into the thread path. And once you do that, you want to do two things. Tighten down your drag so that you don't clamp your star adjuster by working the nut. And the second one, generally speaking, if you can align the flat as perpendicular to that hole, your cap should go on easily. There we go. And you should line up your hole to tighten that down. Wow. Okay, that was an adventure, but it's one worth taking. So what did we do? We showed you off one of my reels that I enjoy fishing with. It's the Quantum Bill Dance. This is the Quantum Bill Dance Select. And this reel is, I want to say it's probably 15 years old now. Might be a little bit more. It's got a ratio of 6.2 to 1. We told you a little bit about Bill Dance, quite an interesting individual, and one that has become a celebrity, helped launch the whole Bass Pro fishing circuit out there. And we showed you the interior. Nice interior, simple design, thumb bar release, high gear ratio for the time. We showed you that my ball bearings that I had in the reel, well, they were steel, and they were making a lot of noise, so it was time to do the upgrades on them, and showed you how to do that. Replaced the one on this side. We used the bearing puller because that one got stuck. Popped this one out pretty easily on this side, and then showed you how to service the reel while we were at it. Told you a little bit about the Boca Bearing Company. I encourage you, if you're interested in doing the upgrades or just need simple replacement bearings. They have the steel bearings and ABEC 5 in addition to the 7. Go ahead and order them from them, or they are a reliable supplier based in Florida. Okay, let's give it a test. It runs nice and easy. You might want to adjust. It's all about using the spool adjuster for you. Check out that line guide. Make sure that's doing its thing. Now let's see how that spool spins. Wow. Wow. What can I say? I am looking forward to loading line on this one, giving it a couple of casts. Just a simple touch and this thing just spins nice and free and easy. That's kind of the pleasure of the ceramic bearings. You know, definitely aid in performance and aid in distance casting. All right, before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. Truly appreciate everything it is that you do on a regular basis, and I want to thank you for your support. Also want to thank everybody who's watching for supporting the channel, for making this channel everything that it is. I really appreciate your day in and day out contributions in the comment sections and your requests for videos, and well, just sticking with us as we continue to try and improve the channel. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.